So, Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So, we'll continue our journey of study of Sri Brahma Samhita, starting with offering our pranam mantras to the Acharya and Srila Prabhupada. Om Ajnana-timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatharine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langhayate girim yat kripatamaham vande Shri Gurum Deenatarinam Paramanandam Madhavam. Hare Krishna. So, Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Welcome back to our Brahma Samhita study. So, let me start sharing the screen. So, last week we studied this verse, Ananda Chinmaya Rasatmaya Rasatmataya Manasu Ya Praninam Pratifalam Smaratam Upetya Lilayitena Bhuvanani Jayatejasram Govindam ādi-puruṣaṁ tamaham bhajāmi. So here Lord Brahma is worshipping Govinda, where he glorifying him as one who triumphantly dominates this mundane world by activities of his own pastimes. Leela. Leelayitena bhuvanani jayati ajasram. Always, ever. And how? Because everyone, all the devotees of Lord and everyone in this world is always thinking of his pastimes. So it says that rasatmataya manasu ya praninam pratifalam smaratam upetya. That everyone is always thinking, so that because his activities, those pastimes are being reflected in the minds of recollecting souls as the transcendental entity of ever blissful cognitive rasa. So the Ananda Chinmaya Rasa, that's how the devotees are always remembering him. And by doing so, even they are in this material world, they could experience that bliss just of association with him. Now, in this today's verse, we are going to study about the different dhama or different planetary systems or different creations of Lord Sri Krishna, where it is from the topmost planet in the spiritual world that we have studied in the beginning at length, which is called Goloka-Vrindavan, to the material world, which is also called as Devī-dhāma. And in between, there are two more. So that's what is glorifying him, Brahmaji, with description of these different dhama. So he is saying here, goloka-nāmni nija-dhāmni tale cha tasya devi maheśa-hari-dhāmasu teṣu te prabhāva-nicayā vihitāś yena govindam ādi-puruṣaṁ tamaham bhajāmi. So he says, lowest of all is located Devī-dhāma or mundane world, or we also call that as material world, where in this material creation, that's where we are currently residing. Next, above the Devī-dhāma, above it is Maheśa-dhāma or abode of Mahesha or Lord Shiva, or which is also called as Kailash-dhāma. Above the Maheśa-dhāma is placed the Hari-dhāma or abode of Hari, which is none other than Kṛṣṇa or his various different types of Vishnu incarnations. And that place is also called as Vaikuntha-dhāma or Vaikuntha-loka. And above them all is located Krishna's own realm named Goloka, or also called as Goloka-Vrindavan. So Goloka is the topmost planet even above, or it's the topmost in the Vaikuntha Loka. And it is nija-dhāmni. It is referred as, it is his own or personal abode where Krishna eternally residing. So that is above all of the other creations. The topmost is Krishna's own personal abode, that is called as Goloka-Vrindavan. And so Brahmaji is saying here, I adore that primeval Lord Govinda, who has allotted their respective authorities to the rulers of those graded realms. So he has dedicated, or what we generally call as delegated, the responsibilities of different creations to the respective authorities in those specific creations. So Devī-dhāma is called because it is controlled, or it is mostly run by Maya Devi or Durga. So then Maheśa-dhāma is controlled by Sadashiva, and then Vaikuntha-dhāma is controlled by Vishnu, or various incarnations of Vishnu. And then the topmost planet and everything else, directly or indirectly, is always controlled by Lord Sri Kṛṣṇa himself. So for controlling all this, he doesn't have to take any specific effort. He is always controlling it through his energies, because all his energies are continuously working, and all these different authorities in the respective planet are none other than his different qualities of expansions. But Krishna is the original Purusha, as we read from the verses from Srimad Bhagavatam, where in the first canto itself, third chapter, Srila Vyasadeva describes many incarnations, some prominent incarnations of Krishna, but then he mentions that there is no limit to all these incarnations, just like in the ocean or in the huge mass of body of water, there are continuously unlimited number of waves are coming, which we cannot count, and they are coming and going continuously. In the same manner, Krishna's incarnations are unlimited, and they are continuously happening in many different parts of this creation, in spiritual as well as the material creation. But then he also concludes that etecha amsha kala pumsa Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. So all these incarnations which I have described, they are either amsha or kala. Amsha means his direct expansions or direct incarnations, and kala means incarnations or expansions of his incarnations, or secondary incarnations, what we may call. But Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. He is the origin of all of these. Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. And this definition of Bhagavan Prabhupada mentions in the Bhagavad Gita, second chapter, when Krishna speaks first verses. And Prabhupada mentions that the verse which is from Vishnu Puran, which defines what is Bhagavan, or what the definition of God is, one who is full in all 6 different types of opulences. Aishwaryasya samagrasya, viryasya yashasasriya, jnana vairagyam. So Aishwarya means wealth, Aishwaryasya samagrasya, and samagra, all, complete, in full. Aishwaryasya samagrasya, viryasya, virya is virta, strength. Yasha means fame. Sriya means beauty. And the jnana means knowledge. And even though he is full in all these 5 opulences, he is vairagya, means he is completely renounced. He is not attached to any of these. So one who possesses all these 6 opulences in full, that person may be called as Bhagavan. That's what Parashar Muni declares in Vishnu Puran. And then when Krishna, he appeared on this planet about 5,000 years ago, so he showed all these 6 opulences in full. So Aishwarya, he was the wealth, even from materialistic perspective, when we see that when Narada Muni went to visit him in Dwarka, when Kṛṣṇa was married to 16,108 wives, and every one of them was residing in her own palace along with Kṛṣṇa. So imagine every single wife of Kṛṣṇa's has her own palace, and the whole city was kind of full of yadus. So that opulence we cannot think from material perspective. He showed that Aishwarya Bhav there, Aishwaryasya Samagrasya, Viryasya. From his strength perspective, Kṛṣṇa from his childhood, even when he was like a few days old baby, he killed demoness like Putana, who after death, whose body was like 12 miles long. And then we see that he killed so many demons in his childhood itself. Yasha, he's famous everywhere. We see this from the pastimes of Indra, or in case of Govardhan Leela, or in Brahma Vimohan Leela, when Kṛṣṇa shows his opulence. So he's not only known in this planet or in this universe, but he is famous all in throughout the creation, be it spiritual or material. Yasha, Sriya, beauty. About his beauty, in the some previous verses we read about Kṛṣṇa's beauty, Kandarpa Koti Kamaniya Vishesha Shobham, that his beauty may be compared to hundreds and millions of Kandarpas, that is the god of love, or cupids put together. And then Jnana, who else other than Kṛṣṇa could give the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna, which is the source, or which is the essence of all the Vedic literature. Gita-Upanishad is considered as essence of all the Vedic literature. So that knowledge only Kṛṣṇa can give. So he is the most knowledgeable person. And then in spite of this, he is completely renounced. And we see this renunciation from time to time in Kṛṣṇa's pastimes also. Even though his very beloved place, Vrindavan, and his parents whom he loved so much, Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda, he left just as it is. And then, so there are so many things that he shows from his examples that he is not attached to. So all these pastimes, based on his qualities, we can, in the Shastra, it is always concluded that Krishnastu Bhagavana Swayam. Kṛṣṇa is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he never leaves his place, Goloka Vrindavan. Ekapadam. So it is said that he never places even a foot outside his place, Vrindavan. But because he is omniscient, while in Goloka Vrindavan, he can appear in other planets simultaneously, and he can perform all these leelas. So let's read this purport quickly. It's a small purport, and then I was going to go and there is a very beautiful chart of the creation drawn by devotees of Kṛṣṇa and disciples of Prabhupada, which we can go over. So in the purport, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur says that in the realm of Goloka stands highest above all others. Brahma, looking up to the higher position of Goloka, is speaking of the other realms from the point of view of his own realm. In the first in order is the mundane creation. So Brahmaji is in the material world, because he is, even though in the topmost planetary system in the material world, but he is in the mundane world called Devī-dhāma, consisting of 14 worlds that starts with Satyaloka, Janaloka, Tapaloka, and so on. And we'll see that in the picture. Next, above Devī-dhāma is located the Shiva-dhāma or Maheśa-dhāma, which is also called as Kailasha. One portion of which is called Mahakala-dhāma is enveloped in darkness. So the planet on which Lord Shiva lives, one side is facing the spiritual world, which is always spiritually enlightened, and the other side is towards the material world, which is called the Mahakala-dhāma, which is the dark side of the, when we say dark, which is the dark from spiritual perspective, which is enveloped in darkness. So interpenetrating this portion of Shiva Dham, there shines the Sadashiva Loka, full of great light. So one part is always in the great light, that is Sadashiva Loka, and the original Lord Shiva, whose expansion, material expansion is in the material world, is Sadashiva, Lord Sadashiva. That is his abode. Above the same appears the Hari-dhāma. So above Maheśa-dhāma is Hari-dhāma or Vaikuntha Loka or Vaikuntha planets or the transcendental Vaikuntha Loka. The potency of Devī-dhāma in the form of the extension of Maya and that of Shiva Loka, consisting of time, space, and matter, are the potency of separated particles pervaded by penumbral reflection of the subjective portion of divinity. So, just like in the eclipse, when the shadow of earth or moon falls on earth or that on the moon, then that part is completely dark, and on the side also there is what we call light called twilight kind of thing. That is called penumbral. So which is not completely dark, but which is also not completely light. So that reflection of divinity. So the Shiva Loka is like that kind of part, and Maya or the material world is completely in ignorance. It's in complete darkness. But the Hari-dhāma is ever resplendent with transcendental majesty and great splendor of all sweetness predominates over the majestic Goloka. So Hari-dhāma above Vaikuntha Loka and Goloka-Vrindavan is completely spiritual. And the epitome of that is the complete sweetness is predominated in all forms of majestics in the Goloka. So Goloka is the highest sweet rasa that we can experience in the spiritual realm, that is in the Goloka. And the Supreme Lord Govinda, by his own direct and indirect power, has constituted those respective potencies in those realms. So that's what in the verse also says, that all these different creations or different worlds are there are representatives deputed by Lord Shri Kṛṣṇa in the different creations. So let me share quickly. I'll stop sharing this and I will share the chart. Please tell me if you can see this. Can you see the image, Matajis?
Yes, Prabhuji, we can see the image.
Yes. So here, this chart is completely drawn based on the verses of Brahma Samhita and some references from Srimad Bhagavatam and other verses. So if you see here, let me zoom in a little bit. So we'll go from, let's say, go from top to bottom. So this one on the top is Goloka Vrindavan. And in the beginning, when we started study of Brahma Samhita, in the very first few verses, there is a very nice description of this Goloka Dham and Shweta Dvipa and all these directions and how Lord Kṛṣṇa resides in the it is like a Sahasra Patra Kamalam. So this is like a lotus form, which is thousands of petals, and in the core wall, Lord Kṛṣṇa with his very intimate associates like Radhā-Rañjana is performing pastimes there. And all other petals are basically his eternal pastimes, eternally happening there. And outside this Goloka is covered by the Shweta Dvipa. And then there are 4 directions, which are like 4 Vedas there. And then 4 Chaturvyuha are there. And we saw all these directions in the beginning. So this is Goloka Vrindavan, which is the topmost planetary system which is full of spiritual rasa, and where Lord Kṛṣṇa is eternally performing his spiritual pastimes with the gopis and Radharani and all his gopa friends. And the replica of that is in the material world. That's where we call as Vrindavan, which is nothing but the replica, which is the same Vrindavan, which is the Vrindavan, or also called as Gokula in the material world. Then below this is Hari-dhāma, or this Vaikuntha planets. So Hari-dhāma or Vaikuntha planets, where there are innumerable Vaikuntha planets, and there are innumerable Vishnu forms, as well as there are different Narsimha Avatar, Varaha, and all these incarnations, their planets are in this creation. There are also 24 prominent different forms of Vishnu, which are depending on the paraphernalia Vishnu is holding on in all different four hands, like Shankha, Chakra, Gada, Padma. Vishnu Murti, in his four hands, is always holding Shankha or the conch, Chakra or the wheel, Sudarshan Chakra. Then Gada is the club, and Padma is the lotus. So depending on which hand what he is holding, there are 24 different combinations and 24 different prominent Vishnus. So all these are in this Vaikuntha planetary system. They are all. And in addition to this, there are different planets of the different incarnations of Vishnu as well. And so all these incarnations, so the devotees which are worshipping that specific incarnation of Vishnu, they go to that abode. That's where they worship in that form. Let's say, so there is also Ayodhya-dham in between here. So Ayodhya here. So which is above this, which is one of the top planets in the Vaikuntha. Then there is also, above this, there is also Dwarka, Mathura, and Gokul. So all these are above this. So Dwarka Dham is called Aishwarya Dham, and above Dwarka, everything, Mathura and Goloka, is Madhurya Dham, where there are always, in the Madhurya Rasa, there are Leelas Kṛṣṇa is performing. But in Dwarka, there is Aishwarya Bhav. And then Ayodhya and all these Vaikuntha planets. So below these Vaikuntha planets is the Maheśa-dhāma, which is where the transition between the material and the spiritual world happens. So if you see there, this is called Viraja river. So that separates the spiritual and the material world. And the material world is nothing but the reflection of the spiritual world in that ocean. So that ocean, which is also called as Karana ocean, Karana or Viraja river. Now, so on the border of this is Maheśa-dhāma, and this, if you see here, the top side is Sadashiva Loka, where in the spiritual creation, original Sadashiva or Lord Shiva's original personality lives. And on the other side, this dark is Mahakala-dhāma, and where Lord Shambhu in the material creation, who associate Shiva Shakti, which is the controlling deity of this whole material creation, which is the father of this material creation. And then Kṛṣṇa takes different incarnations, Purusha Avatara. So in this Karana ocean, for this whole creation, you see this first Mahavishnu, that is Karanodakshaya Vishnu. And from his pores, bodily pores, when he's breathing, innumerable universes are coming, which are like golden egg-like shapes. So these are described here. They are very beautiful depiction here in this picture. So all these golden egg-like universes that are coming from this Karanodakshaya Vishnu. Then the one of the universe is expanded here fully, and what happens is this universe, now there are 7 layers to this, which is covered by 7 layers, and from the inside out, each next layer is 10 times thicker than the previous layer. So the innermost is Prithvi or earth, then water, fire, air, ether, and then we have ahaṁkara, and then the Mahat-tattva. So all these 7 layers are covering each universe. And when universe is created, it is half filled with water, and then Mahavishnu enters in each each and every universe as Garbhodakashayi Vishnu. That is the second Purusha incarnation. So from his navel comes out the lotus. If you see this stem coming out, and on the top of that lotus, Brahmaji is born. And all the 14 planetary systems which we know of, they are from this top to bottom in this stem of the lotus. So the topmost is called Satyaloka, where Brahmaji resides. It is also called as Brahmaloka. Then there is Tapoloka, Janaloka, Maharloka. So these are the topmost or the top planetary system. Then there is a middle called Swargaloka, Bhurloka, and Bhuvarloka. These are the middle. And then there are lower planetary systems, which is Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Talatala, Mahatala, Pata, Arsatala, and Patala. So these are kind of lower planetary systems. And below these, there are 28 different planets of hell, hellish, Narakaloka. So that is below this lower planetary system. There are 28 different kinds of hellish planets. So when in this creation, then there are different types of living entities live on the different planetary systems. But in the middle, where on the earthly planet, we are the Manusha, or the human beings and other living entities, they live here. Then above that is the Pitraloka, above us. Then in Swargaloka are the Devatas, different Devatas. And these are planetary systems. There are multiple planets in this each level. Now this Garbhodakashayi Vishnu, then to enliven all the living entities and to get energy for every atom, enters in every atom and every living entity as Paramatma with the third Purusha incarnation, that is called Kshirodakashayi Vishnu. And he has his own abode in the material world also. This is here, Kshirodakashayi Vishnu, which is very close to Dhruvaloka, or which is sometimes called as Dhruvaloka. And then he enters in every atom in this creation, as well as in every living entity's heart as Paramatma. That is Kshirodakashayi Vishnu. And the controlling deity for this whole material creation, Maya Devi, is Durga, which gets mercy of Vishnu, but she cannot directly come in contact with Mahavishnu. So if you see, he glances over Maya Devi, but that glance is coming through Rama Devi, Lakshmi, because not even his glance can come in direct contact with Maya Devi, because Maya Devi is a sign of material energy, which Vishnu Tattva never comes in contact with. So that Maya Devi comes in contact with Shambhu for this creation. And Rama Devi is the consort of Vishnu, which is none other than Lakshmi. So this Maheśa-dhāma we talked about, which is borderline of the material creation. This Brahma Jyoti is the effulgence, spiritual effulgence of Kṛṣṇa and the spiritual planetary system. And this material creation, which is on the lower side of the Karna ocean, and the bottom lowest planetary system, or the creation part of creation, is called Devī-dhāma. So this Devī-dhāma is nothing but the material creation. So all these four are mentioned in this today's verse. So Devī-dhāma, Maheśa-dhāma, Hari-dhāma, and the topmost is goloka-nāmni, which is the goloka-nāmni, nija-dhāmni tale-cha tasya. Goloka-nāmni is nija-dhāma, means Kṛṣṇa's personal abode. And tale means everything is under Goloka-dhāma. And he mentions them, Devi, maheśa-hari-dhāmasu, teṣu. So under the Goloka-dhāma are from the bottom, from Brahmaji's perspective, because Brahmaji is in the material world here, Devī-dhāma on the topmost planet here. So from his perspective, he is saying Devī-dhāma, Devi, maheśa-hari-dhāmasu, teṣu, which is under the Goloka-dhāma. And te prabhāva-nicayā, vihitāś yena. And all these planets are controlled by the different representatives of Kṛṣṇa, and govindam ādi-puruṣaṁ tam ahaṁ bhajāmi. To that Govinda, he is offering his worship. So it is already 9:31. I'll stop here and we can take any reflections or any thoughts, Mataji.
Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Very good explanation.
Thank you, Mataji. So
Prabhuji, can we have this slide what you showed, this one?
the chart?
Yeah.
Yeah,
From where you took?
I downloaded it from internet. I just looked up Golok chart. So you can look up for Goloka chart or something. There are multiple different variations of this, but this one I found very details are given. There is other chart also. There is other pitch image which is generally shared. So in there also there are some different depictions. But yeah, so these are available online.
So Prabhuji, you said
very nice explanation.
Thank you, Mataji. Yes, Mataji, you were saying.
Prabhuji, you said like when we were looking at Earth and we have ahankar, and you say every time it is 10 times the first layer. So it is an ahankar and other things, those are very hard to break. Yeah. Then
Yes.
so if we see this is so very, very high, so so we will be always fallen.
Not necessarily. Actually, one thing I want to share in this, there is very one beautiful thing here. Is this the one? Yeah. So if you see here, so we are here on earthly planet, right? So if you see in this also, according to, and this all details are drawn according to the scriptural references, and on the left side, on right side, the verses are also given. Actually, if you see the top left corner, the verse, this is the verse we just read. Goloka-nāmni nija-dhāmni tasya devi maheśa-hari-dhāmasu teṣu. So this description is from Brahma Samhita, today's verse we read. So that is the basis of all this image. And then the details are drawn again based on different verses from Brahma Samhita. And so the first 5 verses give the Goloka, this top portion details. And then there are different details from the Srimad Bhagavatam and other scriptures. But here, if you see, do you see this line going from here? A white line? Following my cursor?
Yeah, Prabhuji.
Do you see this?
Yeah.
So this is the line that starts from earthly planet and it is going here from all the planetary systems to the core of this world directly to Goloka-Vrindavan. Can you imagine what that line is?
Bhakti.
That is our path to Goloka-Vrindavan. And this line, if you zoom in, now the resolution of this image is not very good, but it is the mantra what we regularly chant, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So that mantra is not from material world, which is from spiritual world, and which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave to us. And he says in Kali Santarana Upanishad also it is said that Hare, that this mantra, iti shodashakam namnam kali kalmashanashanam natah parataropaya sarva vedeshu drishyate. So that can take us directly to the topmost planet when we chant very sincerely and pray to Lord Krishna sincerely. So as you said, bhakti, yes, bhakti, but for performing bhakti, the topmost level of bhakti, what we can attain in this material world is just by even chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra sincerely. Of course, there are 9 different devotional types of services are given, but chanting is considered as the topmost way, particularly for Kali Yuga, which can take us, release us from this creation. So even though, as you rightly said, getting out of this material creation is beyond difficult, but there is also a way to get out of that. And that we can do with our sincere effort. Thank you, Mataji. That was very nice.
So Prabhuji, where is Saket Dham? Is it the same or is
Which one?
Saket Dham?
Saket.
Like jo Ram, Saket Dham, like who do Ram, na? Ram, God Ram. So
Oh,
उनके
yeah,
नाम को
Ayodhya.
साकेत धाम कहते हैं. तो वो अयोध्या ही है ना?
Ayodhya, huh? Yes.
So Prabhuji, we can fall from there, but we don't fall from Govindam, Gokul Dham, yeah?
So even from Ayodhya Dham, so okay, once we go in spiritual world, we don't fall because spiritual world is any, but go to Ayodhya Dham is, as Kṛṣṇa says, Yanti Devo Vrta Devan. So just like if somebody has love for Kṛṣṇa in the form of Ram, like Hanumanji. So Hanumanji, even though he meets Kṛṣṇa, he offers his dandvat, he offers his respect, but for him, his love is for Lord Ramchandra. So he will not even if he goes to Goloka, he will not relish that rasa because his rasa is different. His bhakti is for Lord Ramchandra. So he associates with Lord Ramchandra in Ayodhya Dham. In the same manner, for Prahlad Maharaj, it will be more for Nrsimhadev Bhagwan. But even though in those rasas, the topmost rasa which one can experience is the one in Goloka. So one who wants to associate with Kṛṣṇa, even for association of Kṛṣṇa, if one wants to associate with him in Madhurya Rasa, then he will go to Goloka. But one is associating with him Aishwarya Bhav, like some devotees who want to accept Kṛṣṇa as their king, then they will go to Dwaraka Dham. So there are different ways, and this all gets much in detail. So right now, what we can do is sincerely chant Krishna's name, and he reveals all this information to us. I hope that helps, Mataji.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, yeah.